Hi, I'm Nora with DuPage Credit Union, and a hot topic right now is whether or not you should rent or buy. So on today's whiteboard, we're going to go through a couple pros and cons of each. Alright, so should you rent or should you buy? That's the big question that everyone has to ask themselves. So let's go through a couple pros and cons. When you're renting, let's go through some of the not so good side. When you're renting, you have no peace of mind. You don't really know if your lease is going to be continued. Are you going to have to move every year? You don't have that peace of mind knowing where you're going to end up. When you're renting, your money's not going to be working for you. Every month, you're writing that rent check to your landlord, and then what happens? At the end of the month, you have nothing to show for it, really, except a roof over your head, but that's not really yours, which goes into, your space. Can you really make it your own? Are you able to put your touches on your property? How much can you really do? Alternately, when you purchase a house, you're afforded some extra conveniences, such as stability. You purchase this home, it's your house, you know where you're going to be. You're making an investment. When you purchase a property, that's a huge investment, and your goal is to get a return on that investment after you've spent some time and energy there. Also, when you buy your own house, of course, you have more control. So you're able to paint the walls purple, do your kitchen how you want to do it. If you want 18 garden gnomes, that's totally your choice. And lastly, you have the tax benefit, which is a huge difference if you've never owned property before and you're able to start reaping those benefits with the taxes. So that's something to consider if you're considering rent versus buy. Alternately, if you're looking at the positive of renting, you might want to consider your habits, your lifestyle. Do you have to move a lot? Are you often switching jobs a lot from state to state, things of that nature? Renting is going to allow you mobility. Also, with renting, you have less maintenance and responsibility. You don't have to worry about what you're going to do if your furnace goes out. You don't have to worry about lawn care, things of that nature. And of course, when you rent property, there is less of a financial commitment when you rent. So you don't have to worry about down payment costs, upkeep, and having reserves for repairs that can end up being costly. So those are all things that you can consider if you're thinking renting at this time. And of course, as far as buying a house goes, there could be some downsides depending on your situation. When you buy a house, there's more responsibility. Kind of goes along with the pros of renting. You have to consider long-term effects of renting, purchasing, because it is a long-term commitment. You have different upkeep costs, maintenance, things of that nature that are going to be your responsibility and can be expensive if you don't plan accordingly. And of course, when you buy a house, there is a larger upfront financial commitment because you are required to make a down payment and put at least a 5% investment in that property when you purchase. So these are things to think about when you're asking yourself, should I rent or should I buy?